allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, well, thank you all for coming to the November 14th City Council meeting of Sidney, Nebraska, the greatest city in the world. We want to point out the Open Meetings Act on the back wall there that we will be adhering to very strictly throughout the night. Jay will let us know if we don't. So Paul reached out to me and said, unfortunately, he would not be able to be here tonight, and was hoping his fellow council members would excuse him this evening. Motion by Bondegaard. Second by Buckner. Roll call, please.
Buckner?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes.
Radcliffe?
Yes.
Bondegaard?
Yes.
Mr. Sherman is excused from tonight's meeting, and I'll have to remember to say thank you to our members. And everybody read the October 24th meeting minutes, which by my own fault did not include my phone number, which is 308-2321. But is there a motion to approve the meeting? Motion by Radcliffe, second by Bondegaard. Roll call.
Sherman?
Yes?
Radcliffe?
Yes.
Bondegaard?
Yes.
Buckner?
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0 at one abstention. So next we have comments by the public. Does anybody here have some comments that they would like to share with us all? We'll go on to item number 4, the amendment to the interlocal agreement for the Jeswell project. David Scott for first appearance of David.
So, whoa, that thing's really. As you know, in 2012, the JESWA, which stands for Joint East Sidney Watershed Association, or should be authority, was formed by the NRD and the City of Sidney City Council. This was done for two reasons. One, to meet the half-cent infrastructure sales tax requirement that an interlocal separate entity be created between the city and another entity. And two, we had a desire to complete the Jeswell project, which most of you know now as the ditch that runs back behind WNCC and back behind the Drell and dumps into Lodgepole Creek, taking off some of that downhill flow pressure off that area. So with that said, the group was intact for the full 10 years that it was existed from 2012 to 2022. And at such time, when we put the half-cent sales tax back on the ballot again in 2023, that the Sidney Watershed Coalition was formed and Jeswell was disbanded, as it needs to be a new group every time you do another 10 years for your sales tax. We had a great relationship with the SPNRD. The project turned out great. They were a huge help to us. The organization did what it needed to do. It worked together. It was a fantastic deal for the city. And now we need to figure out how to move forward with that. And we are moving forward with the Sidney Watershed Coalition. We have a whole work plan full of things that we think need to be looked at and areas that we think we can work on, not only flooding but also drought issues within Sidney and Cheyenne County. But to address the former Jeswell agreement and that organization, when that was disbanded, as you know, there was a SRF loan to pay for that project, and that will be ongoing for, oh God, I wish I knew the exact year that ended, 2030 something, I think 2032 or 2034, I wish I knew exactly, as an 80-20 split, because the city clearly benefited most from that project. The SPNRD really did not benefit a lot. That it helped Sidney more than it did anybody else, but they did help us with a lot of aspects of that project, and were very helpful in getting it put together. So anyway, those are how the loan payments are to be made. But the one thing we didn't take into consideration was minor maintenance. If we need to put some rock in a certain spot because it might have a little washing out, or if we need to plant a little extra brush or something somewhere to stop the water from flowing in an improper way. So the Sidney Watershed Coalition discussed this at our last meeting. We thought we should have an amendment to this agreement for minor maintenance things. In a whole year, it would be less than $6,000. So that we would address those at the same 80-20 split as the loan payments are made. We also noted in the agreement that anything larger than that, if something major should happen with the Jesua project, and it would need some serious expense involved in either repairing or enhancing it in some way, that would have to go back before this legislative body as well as the SPNRD rather than Sydney Watershed Coalition just handling that. But the reason we set that low is there's no need to convene the city council and to convene the NRD because we need to drop some gravel in a little washout spot where it's coming out, or to get the tumbleweeds out from underneath the culverts. So we figured that we can probably handle little things like that. And so that's the addendum to the Jesua agreement that we're asking the city council, and I believe the NRD also probably met earlier today to discuss this too. So we're just asking that you approve this amendment to that Jesua agreement to go ahead and allow the newly formed Sydney Watershed Coalition address minor maintenance with the Jesua project. So I know that's a lot. Is there any questions about that? Or?
It was so well done. Seems pretty simple.
Yeah.
Ready for a motion? I would make a motion that we approve this amendment to the local agreement.
Motion by Mr. Rathbun.
I'll second it.
Roll call, please.
Radcliffe,
Yes.
Bondegaard,
Yes.
Buckner,
Yes.
Sherman.
Yes. Motion passes 4-0.
Thanks, gentlemen.
All right. Consideration of the street
Good.
truck purchase.
Got our eye on you.
Okay, good evening. What you got there's, in your memorandum is what we're after asking for was budget. We budgeted $50,000 for a pickup replacement at budget time, which was approved. And this will be replacing a 2002 Chevy 3/4 ton pickup with over 120,000 miles. And I checked the hours on it because we didn't have it on here before we came home tonight. And there's 8,500 hours on that thing. That's a lot. And this vehicle will be sold at auction at a future date when we have it, to get rid of it. And will be paid for by, and we'll replace it with is a 2024 half-ton pickup, extended cab 4x4, and it will be paid by the equipment reserve. And we budgeted $50,000 for the pickup, and it's going to be $48,083, so that's $1,917 under budget. So we asked for approval to be able to order the pickup off the state bid, and they said it'd be maybe 2 to 3 months. But that was before the strike, so yeah. So I am not going to hold my breath there, but he thought it would be, so.
Were any local bids?
We don't have a local Ford dealer, and they're the ones that got the bid for it off the state bid. Yeah. Sometimes they'll have like 2 or 3 bids. It might not be the lowest, but they'll have 2 or 3, but with the way things are going, they're lucky to even get guys to even bid vehicles lately for the state. I called the state guy and asked him about that.
We'll be rolling in and see if that thing makes it here in 2 minutes.
This would be one of the quicker ones.
Yeah, well, that's why I looked up when you said 3 months. How long you been waiting, Joe?
He's next.
All right. We have a motion?
I'll second.
Motion by Buckner, second by Longaard, roll call please.
Bonnegar,
Yes.
Buckner,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Radcliffe,
Yep. Motion passes 4-0 on the session.
Okay, thanks, guys.
All right. Move my agenda. As I can tell, it must be Joe asking for a purchase of vehicle for the police department.
Yes, sir. 2024, you guys budgeted $137,500 for me to purchase police cars with. Thanks to Hank, we found out that Ford had some police pickup trucks that were available. And so what I'm asking for the purchase of two of those at $48,889 apiece. And then when we add the equipment upfit to them, the total that I'm asking for is $123,088 for both the vehicles. And the email I got from Anderson Ford said that delivery of the police vehicles were 4 to 6 weeks out, so. We'll see. We'll see, but usually once it hits the outfitter, that's where things drag down, because then they get backlogged and buy on the electronical components for the inside of the vehicle. And just so you're aware, the two vehicles that we ordered in 2022 are still sitting in Omaha, getting their lights put in them, so they should be done in the next week or so, so. What was that?
Pickups will get here before the cars.
Probably. Well, those are Dodge pickups, so the other ones are, so,
These will also be paid out of equipment reserve, just so.
yeah. And then we're replacing a 2011 Chevy Tahoe and a 2023 Dodge Charger, with both of them that are over 100,000 miles by the time we get them here, so.
You're not replacing a 23.
What's that?
You're not replacing a 23.
You said 2023.
You probably meant like
No,
13.
did I say 2023?
Yeah.
2012.
Yeah. I was like, wow, I
Excuse
just
me.
got that last
Yeah,
year.
sorry, no.
Bad already.
Not getting rid of a 23 car, don't even have one yet, so,
That was right on that.
yeah. Been a long day.
More questions for Steve? Second by Radcliffe, roll call please.
Buckner,
Yes.
Sherman,
Yes.
Radcliffe, Bonnegar,
Yes.
Motion passes 4-0 on the session.
Thank you, gentlemen.
All right.
Back to me
Looking
already?
around, but I think the proposed Title 117 changes are going to be presented by Mr. Davis.
Yeah, the memo was from Mike Palmer, but he's on his way now to Lincoln for a couple purposes, to attend the MEAN board meeting, and then also to go to Lincoln to talk in the hearing about this changes to Title 17. First of all, Title 17 is what governs the state policy that governs wastewater release back into the environment. And so anybody that has a facility like we do, a wastewater treatment facility, falls under Title 17 and how those procedures and how that process needs to work. And the Environmental Quality Council, the EQC, will be considering on November 17 changes to that title. Every 3 years, they consider changes to that title to upgrade it, to upgrade the quality of water and how the process flows and how it works. But this particular year, we received a letter from the NDEE, Nebraska Department of Environment and Energy, indicating that our wastewater treatment facility may be affected by the changes proposed by, in fact, this year's Title 17 proposed change. The proposed changes would be adding the primary contact, a primary contact recreation designation, a PCR designation, to Lodgepoa Creek, which means that the water must be fishable, swimmable. We all know that you're not going to be jet skiing in Lodgepoa Creek between here and Kimball anytime soon. Most of that water, or all of that water, almost all that water runs underground. There are a couple places where there is some surface water. We've noticed it's mostly on farmland. privately owned, doesn't have anything to do with recreation. Cattle may drink from it, I don't know. But we've done our own study, and it doesn't get any more than 8 inches deep. There's like cattails all around it, so you know it's nothing more than that. Anyway, there's really no reason, we don't believe, for this recreational designation. And their letter to us claimed that they were going to do the whole 86-mile stretch of Lodgepole Creek. They call it another technical name, Subbasin SP2- whatever, but I'll call it Lodgepole Creek. And their letter didn't even have the area right. They had it designated as where Lodgepole Creek enters Nebraska from Wyoming and exit in Kansas. Well, we know that it doesn't exit in Kansas. It exits into Colorado from the Panhandle. This designation would affect about 12, well, it will affect 12 wastewater treatment facilities throughout the state. The two that we're probably most concerned with is, of course, mostly our own. And then Kimball also has a wastewater treatment facility, much like ours, that would be affected by this change to Title 17 as well. So if adopted, again, we would be required then, both us and Kimball, to comply with this unfunded, and I want to make that clear, unfunded mandate by the state to either add UV treatment or a chlorination system to our facility. The estimations for cost for these upgrades to facilities throughout the state have come in anywhere between $300,000 and a little over $1 million. Now, where we would stand in that, I don't know. In speaking with staff, we estimate that we would be somewhere around middle of the road of that. So what we're wanting to do then is, current staff conducted a survey of Lodgepole Creek and have taken exception to the NDEE not completing their UAA, Use Attainability Analysis Study. The state also has their own regulations, right? Not only the ones they impose on us, but they have their own sets of rules and regulations. And one of those is, for them to make a change like this, they must first perform a UAA, which was never done. So that's another problem we have with this proposal, that they didn't even do the study. First of all, they don't know where the Lodgepole Creek enters and exits the state, and they've never even done a UAA. We just feel that this needs to be studied more, and we need more evidence and proof of why this change would need to take place. So we did draft a letter in opposition to the proposed standards without completion of the UAA study, and Mike and Todd will be attending the EQC public hearing on November 17th in Lincoln. We've drafted a letter that kind of goes over the bullet point. In fact, I think you might have it in your packet tonight, that we will be submitting to them. We also will be taking 25 copies of that as handouts as well. You can do it either way or both. They said you can submit it online, or you can bring them and hand out to the 25 members at the time. It was discussed between myself and city staff, and also, by the way, I want to point out that representatives of Kimball will be showing up at this meeting as well, along with our city staff, to also introduce opposition to this change, the specific change to Title 117. So with that being said, what we're really not asking any action of the council, other than to maybe reaffirm that you are in full agreement with city staff's opposition to what we feel is just an unnecessary change at this point, without them even having done the necessary studies to do so. And like I said, we know we're not going to be boating and jet skiing in Lodgepole Creek anytime soon. So I just think to make it a primary contact recreation area seems a bit much. So anyway, the one good point I will point out, as many times the government brings down, from the federal or state mandates, that they're going to do this one way or the other. We hope not. We hope that's not the case. We hope their hearing really is truly meant to hear people's concerns. If that's not the case, and in fact they do not hear our concerns and move forward, the one positive that we do have is our permit. We do not need to enact this until our permit is due again. Sydney's permit is not due till 2028. So even if they go against our wishes and other communities' wishes, and I'm sure there's going to be the other 10 communities, or I'm positive are going to be at this meeting too, or at least they very much should be. If they go against those wishes and pass this anyway, we would at least have 3 or 4 years to prepare for the cost of this. Kimball's not in that great of a position. Theirs is due next year, so with all they've got going on, it would just be another gut punch for them to have to do this at the last minute now. So we're going to do everything we can to make our point made, and it's just, I just kind of wanted to let the council know that, and ask you that if you would so choose to reaffirm your agreement with city staff that we should oppose this change to Title 117.
Now, this is a statewide change,
Yes.
but it mainly affects, you said 10 communities?
It's going to affect a lot of waterways throughout the state, like lots of them, mostly in smaller communities, though. It will affect several communities, but most of the communities that it affects that aren't those 12 have lagoon systems, which are exempt from that requirement. So it really financially will only affect the 12 communities that have wastewater treatment facilities, much like we have in place and what Kimball has and what the other 10 places throughout the state have.
And is this is just a hearing, it's not in front of like the Natural Resources Committee, or?
It would be in front of the, I never say that acronym right, the EQC.
Okay.
The Environmental Quality Council is the ones that they will be speaking before. And we didn't know, so we set multiple options. I don't know if it'll work like when we have went to Lincoln and testified before legislative committees. I don't know if they'll be timed or if they'll have any kind of limit. So what we sent them with, and they'll be meeting with Kimball this week before they go in there. And so Kimball is on the same page, and we're hitting all the points we possibly can rather than duplicating them if there is a time limit. They've already broke it down into what each one of them could say in a possible 3-minute time limit. As you've been there before, Brad, you know, when the red light comes on, you're just done, right? I don't know if that's how this works in this circumstance. I've never testified before this Environmental Quality Council before, but we are prepared for either method, whether they allow us to speak as much as we want or whether we needed to break it down between us and the Kimball representatives to get as much as we can in our time limit.
And then also, like in a committee hearing, is there a link where people can go and express their opinion on it, or is it just you have to go to this meeting to do it?
Right. No, it's not like the state legislator where you can go online and do that. You can send a document ahead of time, which we've already done. And the reason we chose to do both, honestly, in talking with Mike about this, and he agreed. Originally, we were just going to submit our opposition online and not take anything with us in hand. But I honestly feel sometimes when you do that, it doesn't get looked at. But if you stand right there before them, like I'm standing here, and just hand this to them, while people are talking, they're going to be looking at it. So we chose to do both methods of submitting it online and then also handing it out. I just think it has a bigger effect sometimes if you hand somebody something right there.
Yeah, I just didn't know if you're average citizen that
Oh.
would have any ability to express.
I don't believe, I'm not aware of any outlet for that. They did not let us know of any outlet for that, and there's nothing on their website that shows that. So
This is basically just for each individual city.
municipalities that are affected by it, yes. That would be great if we could do that, though, and just, yeah. But they would want qualified people that are knowledgeable of this kind of thing to speak to that.
Sometimes they'll let people in.
Well, I didn't mean it in that way. I just meant, people with like water and wastewater certifications and things like that. But I wouldn't even have that. That's why I'm sending Mike and Todd.
No, it sounds like you guys have it all planned out just in case there is a 3, 5-minute or unlimited ability to express our discontent with their.
It's scary when that yellow light comes on. You have to start talking fast, right?
Unless you have a senator on your side, once you finish.
Yeah, that's the only. Then you get a break. Yeah.
I'm not gonna be mad about that still.
Me neither.
Any other questions?
So you're saying that our argument basically is that it's just a creek, non-recreational, mainly used for livestock?
The almost all of that, and I won't give the technical name, I call it logical creek. Most all of that is underground water. There's nothing above surface, and where it is, it's very, very minimal. And it wouldn't even be in a public area from what we've deemed that people would be able to access to go recreate in. So, and
So then this non-funded project by the state would be requiring us to build a system that we wouldn't use.
we would have to use it during the summer months, during what they consider recreational months. We would have to either use UV or chlorinate what we dispel. That would,
Which is nothing.
which is nothing that would be above water, above ground, yeah.
And so their expectation would be that between us and Kimball and the other little counties, we fund this ourselves,
It is an unfunded mandate, they're saying.
but just pass down the new tax rate or something like that to our citizens to say, hey, we got to pay for this thing the state wants.
I
us.
mean, yeah, I mean, it would be your wastewater,
Yeah.
our sewer department would have to eat the cost of that somehow, either with a bond or, however we could manage to do it without, hopefully not raising rates on citizens, but they did not provide any granting, other than they said they would allow you to use an SRF loan for it, which means, yeah, you can borrow. I said, well, we know we can borrow, right? But,
Okay, well, hopefully they hear us when we go down there.
yeah, I'm hoping so.
Good argument for us, and we won't have to worry about that until 2028.
Yes.
So,
Even if they don't hear us, yeah. I think we sent the right two people. Todd, you've met with Todd, everybody's toured that. He's very knowledgeable of that, and Mike is very on top of that as well. So I think I generally like to go for these things, but they're the two best people to send, so.
when will we know?
I'm not sure how soon they'll make their decision after the meeting, so I'll find out when they come back what they heard from how soon that decision will be made, but hopefully.
We do have to do something, we can get that out.
Yeah, hopefully they wouldn't wait too long. Like I said, at least we're fortunate that we have some time. We could start trying to sock away or something, but not all the other 11 communities are in that situation, so.
Well, it's kind of concerning if they want to do this and they haven't even studied if there's a need for it.
That was our biggest kind of argument, is they're kind of breaking their own protocol that you do a study before you mandate something like that, and they didn't even do it. Yeah.
That's what I want to know, just how it affects us, in the event they say you will do this.
Yeah, if they say we will, we'll definitely be talking about it more, huh?
I'll let you tell everybody that we're gonna do a tax hike.
But I mean, we just want to make sure we go on record as not wanting to do that right there, so that's,
Everything possible. Well, do we have a motion to vote in support of?
We don't have to have a motion. No.
We
Yep.
just all say
Yep.
it?
Yep, it was just for discussion.
yep,
Yeah.
Well, just want you to know that I support.
okay, perfect. All right, thank you, gentlemen.
We are with you.
I didn't know if you were going to just say they supported it.
Yeah.
All right, approval of claims.
What was this time?
Oh, I forgot to write his name down, sorry about
That's
that.
all right, that's why I looked straight at you, I'm like, should
I knew who it was.
No, it wasn't me.
She took away your headline, Bert.
Sounds like you need a motion to approve the claims.
Motion.
Motion by Buckner,
I'll second.
second by Vondergaard, roll call please.
Sherman,
Yes.
Radcliffe,
Yes.
Bonnegar,
Yes.
Buckner.
Yes.
Motion to approve the claims passes 4-0-1. And we have, for his first ever budget presentation, Dagan Carlin.
Should I be nervous?
Just built you up quite a bit.
Yeah, I know. Dramatic fail here. Yeah, so looking at the budgets for the month of October, property tax and DMV, we were up year over year about 2% or $40,000. So more in line with what we were looking at in 2020 fiscal year. Jumping down to sales and occupation tax, after adjusting our year-end entries for 23, we were more in line with previous years with little to no growth year over year on a positive level of about 35K. For fees and service, we were flat to 20 and 21 and down to 22, 4% or 19K. This is largely from the building sign and permit, down 15,000 in that realm. State, federal, and county, flat to previous years, seeing growth in transit bus grants and reimbursements, so that's positive. Franchise and administration fees, in line with previous years. There was really no significant changes year over year. So moving on to revenues and expenditures. The general fund, overall, the revenues are down, but we did transfer our equipment reserve here with me starting. We got that done and right out the door. So the budgets are going to look a little bit off. So for general fund, we transferred $171,500 to the equipment reserves, with a more accurate representation of being down 56-46. In the street department, transferred $150K in the equipment reserve. So a better representation there is a positive $113,404 on the bottom line. Electric department finished the month with a positive, even with the $150K expense to the equipment reserve. So they were positive $490,000. Water, taking out the water debt assessment, the water department finished a positive $46K with a $25K expense to the equipment reserve. Taking out the SDA, sewer was finished positive at $6K with a $75K expense to the equipment reserve. The landfill was positive $1K with a $50K equipment reserve fund. So everything looks in line with previous years. If not, we're sitting a little bit better going into the winter months. So,
Keegan, do you mind if I add just one thing to
Yeah.
that? And of course, keep in mind, this is just 1 month into the fiscal year. So I'm sure that it might have alarmed people when we said we were 400,000 positive in the electric department after 1 month. They did not bill us for October's power purchase until November, so that will even out next month. I just didn't want somebody to think, well, how on earth did we do that good in just 1 month? So that will even out in November a little bit. Just wanted to point that out. Sorry, Keegan.
no, you're good. Any questions?
Well, I'm certainly not an economist or anything like that. I always like to see the fact that our sales tax is continuing to rise year over year, which means people are spending money in Sydney, whether they live here or just passing through. So that's all it is. You guys just gonna let him off in his first one?
I mean, I'd appreciate it. My palms are sweaty.
I don't want to have to post the position again.
You promised me to.
No.
All right, well, we have a motion to approve.
Cool.
Higgins first ever budget
Yay.
report. Motion by Radcliffe,
One down.
second by Buckner, roll call please.
Radcliffe?
Yes.
Bundgaard?
Yes.
Buckner?
Yes.
Sherman?
Yes. All right, motion passes 4-0 to 1. And now, we're going to take a moment to go into closed session for some discussion over possible litigation. We will come back and we will have some more,
Closing comments?
closing comments and end of the meeting, so you're certainly welcome to stick around, you just can't stay in here. And we have that motion.